Hi there. Today I'm going to show you how to turn the heel on your sock. So what we are going to be doing is a short row heel. It will look something like this when you're done, hopefully, if all goes well. The beauty of this specific type of heel is that it can be done when you're knitting in either direction in a pattern. So if you start at the toe and knit down to the heel and then turn it, it can be done in that direction, or if, like with this pattern, we started at the cuff and you're knitting down to the heel, it works perfectly because it's pretty identical in both directions. So let's get started. What you'll need is your project, knit down the cuff and the leg, done, and ready to put the heel in wherever you like, and a piece of paper. You're going to write the word knit and the word purl, and write the numbers 1 to 10 below it. And as a beginner, this will help you a lot to keep track of where you are in the heel. Once you become more proficient with this type of heel, you may not need the piece of paper anymore. I don't use it most of the time anymore, but I have done this many times. But I highly recommend this so that you don't lose where you are in your pattern. So I'm gonna grab our sock. We are going to be knitting the heel on one side, so 30 stitches here. You'll want to make sure there are 30 stitches, and we're going to completely ignore the stitches that are on the back here. So to get started, I'm going to explain a little bit about what we're doing, and hopefully that will help you get it straight in your head before we start. So what we want to do is create, it's almost like a wedge, I'll show you on this one, a triangle shape on the bottom of, or this would be the top of the heel. So what we're going to be doing is knitting across, and then we're going to leave one stitch behind. We'll turn our knitting around and we'll purl back. We'll purl back across and we'll leave one stitch behind on that side. Then we'll turn it again, knit our way across, and leave a second stitch behind. So at the end of each of the row for the heel, we'll leave a stitch behind until we hit the halfway point. And that will give us that kind of wedge triangle shape. So let's get started. So we're going to bring our needle around to do the magic loop. I'm going to slip the first stitch knitwise, and I'm going to knit my way along until I get to that last stitch. We're always going to be slipping the first stitch for the heel each time we start a row. That will help it be less gappy or less holy along that seam. It'll just give it a little bit tighter a look. And that is what we want. We want to try and avoid big gaps. For your first sock, there might be a gap or two, but don't worry, by your third sock, you'll probably have that mastered. Nothing a darning needle can't fix. So you're going to go all the way along till you get to your last stitch. Almost there. Okay. So I have one stitch remaining. What I'm going to do is just leave it there. Don't knit it, don't move it, don't do anything to it whatsoever. And what we can do is circle the one under knit. So we've left one behind on the knit row. Then I'm going to rotate my knitting. And we're just ignoring these other stitches, are just going to remain down on the cord. So we have that one little stitch that we did nothing with. It's still on the needle. We're just ignoring it completely. So now we're going to start the purl row. So we're going to slip the first stitch purlwise, and then we're going to purl along. And we're going to do the same thing where we're going to keep purling along until we get down to our last stitch on this row. Now if you want to do your heel in a different color than the rest of your sock, where you do the heel, the toe, and the cuff in a solid color. All you would have to do is right before you start the heel, tie on your new color. You don't even have to cut off the color on your main part because you will be coming back to it for the foot, and you just have to start knitting then for the heel part of the pattern in the new color. I'm going to keep going down, almost there. So there's one stitch remaining. We're going to leave it there. Again, we're not going to touch it. We're going to circle the one under purl. That means that we've left one behind on the purl side. We're going to rotate our knitting. That little stitch just stays right there. We're not doing a darn thing with it. And we're ready to do another knit row. So this time we're going to slip the first one again, knit our way along, all the way down the row. We just keep going along. This is a very basic heel. There are tons of different heel patterns, and this is a very simple one just to get you through your first sock and get you doing socks. There are tons of different ways to do heels, so I tried to pick all of the basic elements to make it as easy as possible. So now we're going to get down to the last two, and we're going to leave, that was the one we left behind last time, we're going to leave behind this one this time. So there's two left on the left needle. I'm going to circle the two under knit because we've left two behind on the knit row. I'm going to rotate my knitting again. Again, we're just ignoring those ones on the other side. Those are the two we left behind. You're just going to leave them there. We're going to start purling. So you're going to slip the first one purlwise, and you're going to purl your way across. It starts to get faster and faster because each time you're leaving behind a stitch, which is kind of satisfying. But you lose that satisfaction when you're on your way back, because each row is going to get longer when we do the pickup. We work our way along. And then once we have two remaining, almost there, we're going to do the exact same thing. So there, I have two left. It's fine that there's a gap in between there. That is exactly what is anticipated. We're going to leave those two behind. And I'm going to circle on the purl row, circle the two, because we just finished that one. We left two behind this time. You're going to rotate your knitting, and you're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to keep doing this. So you're going to, once again, slip your first stitch, knit until there are three left, and you're going to leave three behind. Circle the three on your piece of paper, rotate it, purl your way back down, leave three behind on the purl side. Continue to do that until you have left 10 behind on each side, because you have 30 stitches there. So that means you'll have 10 stitches that you've just been knitting and purling across that are in the middle. And you'll have 10 stitches at each end that you've left behind. So that's what's going to give you that wedge shape. So continue doing that exactly as I've done it for rows 1, 2, 3, and 4 there. Just keep repeating that. You can go back to the beginning of this video and keep following it. We do the exact same thing, leaving one more stitch behind at the end of each of our rows. Keep doing that, and then go to the next video, and I will show you how we do the pickup again to come around the other side of the heel, and then you'll have completed your first heel.